Hey guys, happy Monday. Today is Monday, April 8th, 2019. I'm super excited to have my friend Joe Lopez on the show again, right? He was on the show. We'll reminisce about that in a minute. The most important thing, of course, is to let us know you can hear us and see us. You guys know that story. Don't ever want to go through that again where we do a wonderful show and then nobody can hear us or see us. So give me a thumbs up if you pop on, even if you're not a friend of mine. Wyatt Smith's on. Wyatt. All right, so we got a thumbs up, so we're golden. All right, so hey, Charley Stamper, what's up? I'm very excited to have you back on the show. We've been trying to do this for a little bit, but are you seeing it?
No.
Not yet? All right, well, it'll come.
It'll come.
Charley, big kisses to you. What's up, Jeff Lopez? So I'm super excited to have you on because the last time we had you on, you were running for office. And we put that in the title, Leadership Life After Running for Office, because I think it's pretty cool. Happy Monday, Wendy Stewart. And I think it's pretty cool that you have taken that, your run for office, and now you're super involved, not that you weren't before, in the community. So we want to hear the whole story. Welcome, Joe Lopez.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Ted. Thanks for having me back. It's a beautiful day. And,
it's a beautiful day.
And I got your memo.
We both have blue on. Really royal blue, whatever this is called.
Yeah.
I'm super excited, too, because I think people heard your story when you did the show. But give them a little bit of background again. He's trying to find the show so he can share it, but you can share it later if you want.
Yes.
I don't want you to get caught up in that. Don't worry. We have technology people that are smart about that stuff. So tell them a little bit about you before we dive into a quick summary of election and then to what you're doing now.
Well, I born and raised in the Bronx to Cuban immigrants that came here from. They fled Cuba when Castro took over. So grew up there and ended up sometime in Miami with family. And I got married to a beautiful wife. Been married for 28 years.
Nice, me too. 28
really?
years, 1991.
Oh, wow.
Or are you 90?
90. Wait, what year were you in? Okay, I got to make sure. I hope she's not watching. Okay?
It's all right. It's early in 2019, so
Okay.
it could be.
So we got married in 1990. So it's gonna be 19 years.
Nice.
I mean 29 years.
I
Sorry,
tricked him up.
sorry, babe.
I'm so sorry. It's my fault. Blame it on me.
So married to her, and she gave me two beautiful children, and we moved up here to Orlando in 2005. I came here first. I came here for a promotion when I was with the Highway Patrol. Came here for a lieutenant, and she followed suit right after that, and we've been there ever since. Raising our family, our beautiful family here in Orlando, better place to raise a family.
I love it here. How about you are also a veteran, correct?
Yes, I'm a United States Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You know how much I appreciate that.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Lisette Lopez. Is that her?
Yeah, she
She said, get it right, 29. You're awesome. My wife would do the exact same thing. Seriously, Ted, you don't know.
Oh yeah. My wife is my my calendar for me.
I got you.
She keeps me straight. She
Keeps
tells
you
me about
straight.
everybody's birthday. I don't know if it's a guy thing or
I
something.
I use Facebook for that. It's terrible, but
Yeah, I do too. I got it on my phone. I got it all my phones to remind me 2 or 3 times.
Of course.
At
And
9
you
o'clock in
still
the
don't.
morning and 10 o'clock. So, but so we came here to Orlando, and of course I retired as a state trooper after 32 years. I was.
Thank you for that service too.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So you've really been a public servant, for lack of a better word, your whole career.
My whole career, and as a kid, I was an altar boy.
Nice.
In the Catholic Church in the Bronx, and I was a Cub Scout. I was a Boy Scout, and I was a naval cadet. So my whole life, I've been committed to the community. So it grows on you. It's just part of you.
And then you ran for office. You ran for sheriff.
Then I ran.
Thank you, Dallas.
I ran for Orange County Sheriff unsuccessfully, but I learned a lot.
That's awesome.
And
looking at the silver lining, that's good.
Yeah, they say there's a saying that a person succeeds after they learn from their failures. But the one thing is, me and my wife, we talked and we said, she goes, before the election started, she goes, if you don't win, there's one good thing that we got out of this is all the people that we've met, all the good people.
Your wife sounds like good people. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, she's the one. She's the sane part of me, I should say. She keeps me straight.
She keeps you straight.
Yeah.
What made you want to run for office?
Of course, being in public as a public servant, it's always been a calling of mine. That's a purpose. There's a purpose that you have in life. You wake up every morning saying, "What is it I could do today to change something positive for the good?"
Right.
Whether it's fighting crime, it's helping somebody who's in need, helping the oppressed, and volunteer. So there's so many levels in the community that I have served. I've served my nation as a U.S. Marine. I served my state as a state trooper because I've been all over the state. I lived in numerous counties as a state trooper for 32 years. And so I said, well, how can I affect change, positive? And I felt that a lot of people within the community, especially where I live in East Orlando, felt, hey, you should go and run for office and political, but I'm not a politician. So I said, I don't know anything about politics. I said, I'm a cop. I've been a cop all my life. That's all I know how to do. And then of course, I said, yeah, think about running for sheriff. So, and I thought about, said, what a great way to make change, to lead change and to lead a great group of people here in Orange County to where we all can live safer. The number one thing that we all think of, especially when we moved here, how can our children grow up safely? The great school, the better schools, which is the best schools they say. So I felt that was the track that I felt that I could do the most good.
And motivating enough, because it's basically a family commitment too. Like you decide to do it. I mean, if you don't have the support at home, it's a big deal anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously, your wife, your family got on board.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Okay.
I would imagine.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like the spotlight. She doesn't. She's she's more reserved and so forth, and she reminds me sometimes. She says, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I'll be behind. So what they say too, which is this is a true testament. Behind every good man is a great woman, and without my wife, without my two beautiful children that she gave me, there's no way I could do this alone. They've been there through thick and thin, because I've had to transfer. I've had to go to different places as a state trooper, and they had to stay home. I was in Tallahassee for 2 years when I was a chief. Yeah, and coming home on my days off. And so all along, she has been behind me 100%. It takes a while to get used to, because you get used to certain things and having, somebody around and that sense of security.
Sure.
So she's finally on board. She was a little, didn't know which direction we were going to take after the election. But.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So the title of the show was obviously Leadership Life After Running for Office. So the election's over, and then are you left with okay, what am I doing next? Had you already planned what you wanted to do? Was it already in process? How did that process work?
I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I knew I was going to go back to work, to my original job, and my family at Disney, great family. They supported me, and I went back to there. But the floodgates opened up when people reaching out to me and asking me, hey, do you mind joining our organization and helping this cause? We listened to you on the campaign. And so between, volunteering for on paving the way for human trafficking.
Jen Edwards, shout out to you.
Jen Edwards, what a great person. She's
amazing.
Oh my God, is she driven. I wish there was a lot more people like her.
Why that? Why human trafficking?
Well,
did you have experience with that as a sheriff, as a deputy, as an officer?
Yeah, I did. As a chief in the Florida Highway Patrol, we human trafficking became apparent that they were traveling up and down on the highways, and nobody thought about that. And truth of the matter is, I saw a movie called Take It. Right, I saw all 3 movies, and that movie may not depict exactly what happened.
Right.
But it's what's behind human trafficking, the slavery, and using women for sex, and using young children for labor and men for labor. It's modern day slavery. When people mention modern day slavery, nobody's really thinking about it. But you really look into it, and learn the cases and the people involved in that, you're like, that's slavery. I mean, you know, we went through some dark times in this country over 200 plus years ago. You're thinking, is this still happening in this country? So as a chief, we had to teach our troopers how to identify true victims of human trafficking, because everybody knows that human trafficking involving sex work, some of those women are there by force and coercion. They coerce and fear.
So what do you look for? What's maybe give them a sign? I mean, the crazy thing is, I know it's changed a little bit. Florida's third in the nation. Allegedly, it's supposed to move up to second. Orlando's third in Florida, and allegedly going to move up to second. These are the stats I keep hearing about. So this is a giant problem here in Orlando and Central Florida. People don't want to believe it because of Disney and because of Universal, because it's the happiest place on earth, which we were talking about earlier. But think about it. It's a mecca for that kind of activity. It's easy in and out. It's a transient community where we have so many visitors that come in and out of our Central Florida area. So what is something somebody can look for?
Well, Ted, all those things that you mentioned are a part of a big list why that happens. I mean, it's at the top. You have, first of all, we are the second most city in the United States for tourism, conventions. Okay, well, the number one tourist destination in the United States. Number two for conventions. So that attracts that type of clientele. Super Bowls, okay? You wouldn't believe what happens when Super Bowls come in, these conventions come in. These people, these handlers, they bring in all those women because it's a money-making business. The weather is phenomenal. People come here. The multicultural population that we have here. These people, they blend in too. So you have all of that. So what do you look for? And I'll give you an example. A trooper stopped in Miami, traveling on the turnpike, going north at 1 o'clock in the morning, stopped this girl. She was dressed like she was working at a strip joint, okay? So the trooper found it very odd that, 1 o'clock in the morning, the fact that she was 18 years old, looking like that. She was very open about where she was coming from, but she didn't have a driver's license. At 18 years old, 1 o'clock in the morning, but she had a job. Her license was, where's your license? My boyfriend has it. Boyfriend has it. Where's your registration? My boyfriend has it. Whose car is it? My boyfriend's. So, and then they found out she's 18, her boyfriend's 30 years old. Bingo, light goes off. The way she was dressed. Very nice, very cooperative, but we found out that she was involved in human trafficking as a victim.
What do you say to people who say, all right, so this is her opportunity, this is her time, she obviously now could escape if she wanted to. What's going on that keeps them enslaved, basically? What's happening in the head? What are they doing to them?
Psychologically, it has the same anomalies, not all of them, as a woman who's abused in a marriage.
So Stockholm syndrome, it's very much like, right? It's the victim. They begin to, they respond. They only know how to respond in a victim manner. Remember, you're brainwashed. Think about Elizabeth Smart, all these kids that are taken, these adults that are taken, and you find them years later, thankfully. But they're brainwashed. They are literally, it changes their entire mindset. I know it doesn't sound as complicated as it is, but it's complicated what they do, the psychological torture that they put them through.
Yeah, so just give you an example. People ask questions. Well, they had an opportunity. Why don't they just leave? Well, I was talking to two rescuers, okay, from the community about at an event that I was at about 3 weeks ago. And I got to know them. They help out the homeless, and they help out a lot of people, and a lot of victims from human trafficking. And some of these people are born into this. So you take a woman, you take a prostitute who has a child in this life, raising the child, and they raise the child into this lifestyle. So again, Stockholm syndrome, you have that aspect of it. You have fear, that aspect of it, that psychological fear. They will find me, they will come, because people die. Sometimes these women get killed. When they find out that they're leaving, they either A, kill them, or B, transfer them to a different area where
Right,
nobody knows
where
them,
nobody knows
and
them.
they can't reach out to them. So that they're afraid to come to the police because these rescuers have told me their life has been threatened. Okay, so it's not an easy thing. It's happening here in Orange County.
It
It's
happens
very sad.
here all the time. We've got Jen Edwards paving the way. I'm on the board for the Lifeboat Project with Jill Cohen. I know Tomas Larry's is with. It's got a new name
Florida,
now, abolitionist, but he's
Abolitionist.
got a different name, but abolitionist. So what do you want to do with that? Is that, I mean, that's only one thing you do, and then we'll wrap that part up because I want to know more about Citizen Corp and all that.
So with that is education. All right, we want to get into the schools. We want to talk to the kids. We want to talk to the families. We want to talk to the people who see this, who hear this, and educate them so we can disrupt the human trafficking. So you have educating them, so if they come in contact with friends of theirs, because they're in school, these kids go to school, so have those casual conversations because they can save a life.
Right.
So it's mainly awareness and education, and Jan is doing a jam job. Jan's doing a jam job.
Jan's doing a jam job.
And there's a bill in Tallahassee right now that's got a lot of progress that's going to get passed. So if you hear about that, if you know any senators, right now it's in the Senate, and you hear about this is great. This is to get human trafficking education, just like we've talked about drugs and guns. Human trafficking is out there. So God forbid. I have a 19-year-old daughter, so I take it really personal that the fear that I live, the nightmare that something that I would have to deal with under my watch. So.
It's very scary. So paving the way, we'll share all of that information at the end because I think it's so important to get involved. Joanna Petrowski said she learned about it at her church. I think people just don't want to believe it's going on, and they don't believe the amount of it, the actual sheer volume of trafficking that goes on in Central Florida and Orlando. It's crazy. All right, so that's not your only thing. So is there a plan? I want to talk about Citizen Corp. So talk about that, because you had a couple of people that commented when I posted and said, we're so happy to have Joe as a part of that. What is that? Orange County?
Yeah, Orange County, it's advisory council. You're appointed by the commissioner and by the mayor. Each commissioner appoints one. I was appointed by Commissioner Maribel Cordero, who is a commissioner for District 4, where I live.
know Maribel.
Yes, Maribel, hard worker.
Very well.
Yes. So I was appointed, and what Citizens Corp is about is to educate the community when it comes to natural disasters, neighborhood watch, and to get education, to get them out there, to have seminars, to let them know what services are available. We have equipment, we have positions, volunteer. People can volunteer to help us to get the message out. Same thing, it's almost like, neighborhood watch where you got block captains, where you have I forget the name of it, so I'd be remiss, I'm sorry about that, but it's the name of a person who leads that in a neighborhood, just like if there's a disaster, they'll be the go-to person. Okay.
So when we're bringing people together, like let's say there's a hurricane headed this way, tropical storm, whatever, if it's coming this way, you're part of the team that sets up the call center, the places where people can go, the shelters. You really coordinate that and educate so people know where to go for the resources?
Yes, to get that information out there, to use the volunteers to get that. And also there's equipment, there's first aid equipment that people can have and to prepare themselves in case, God forbid, somebody's injured, somebody's hurt in their neighborhood. So it's part of that. It's just to get people involved because we're learning that from these disasters. I, 32 years as a state trooper, I deployed to every hurricane in my career up and down the state. And what we learn is when the community gets involved, we're effective. My house was hit. Just moved into my house 30 days in Miami, Hurricane Andrew.
Wow.
Brand new house, ground zero, country walk in Miami. We got hit, and one of the problem we had is that we couldn't get out of our neighborhood because all the trees were down. Right. Besides the fact the water was flooded, but the neighborhood all gathered together with people with pickup trucks, chainsaws, and chains, so we can move the trees because the firefighters could not get to some of the residents, and we had somebody across from us who was injured, a glass went right through his hand. So the firefighters had to park outside the development. They had to walk like a half a mile with their gear, and we all know what happens after a hurricane. It's the most gorgeous day there is, and it's the hottest day, you know.
Right.
And they had to walk in their gear, walk across the property to attend to it. So we help move the trees and so forth, so they can come in and out.
Most of us, like in Orlando, I was here when Charley hit, and whatever the other 3 hurricanes were that came through that year, 2004. Our biggest concern at that time here was electricity. And of course, clean water is like a big deal too. But I love the fact that each of the neighborhoods came together. And it's so important to get that, to energize that group, because there's so many different neighborhoods. And remember, my neighborhood actually lost a ton of trees. We won't have that problem again if anything comes through, because they're all gone. God bless those trees. I miss trees. Yeah. But that's actually a good thing. But you're right. You couldn't get the services and the help and the aid to people because your path was blocked.
Yeah, I came here for Charley from Miami. We came up here to deliver generators to people. So when you talk about electricity, yes, electricity was a big problem, and I remember that. We came up here because we came up on the West Coast. We went to Punta Gorda first because that's where it hit. Yeah, we went there. We stayed there about 2 or 3 days, and then from there we came up to Orlando. So yeah.
And it's coming up, guys, and we'll eventually. It's less than 2 months away is the start of hurricane season. It's June 1st. So I'll have some insurance people on and some experts, because we just have to be prepared. But that's what you're talking about doing. You're energizing the troops again. You're getting everybody together, and you're making sure that when it's coming, which is great that we have that advanced knowledge, at least some of it, in this day and age with our meteorology people. It's so awesome to have that. But you can get people together and can actually work toward mitigating the amount of horrible stuff that people have to suffer through.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who want to help, but they don't know how.
That's true.
They don't know who to call or what to do, and they want to help, and that's awesome. That's great that with the communities coming together, and that's what these programs are about. And there's a lot of funding from federal government to get these people in.
Tons of funding. All right. So you also mentioned anti-bullying to me. So talk about that. I'm a big proponent of any anti-bullying program, because it is rampant. Kids are committing suicide. Kids are, the mental health of kids. My son was bullied, which I didn't know till later. He's 6'4". I mean, you don't know it. You can't guess who it is and who isn't. What's up, Troy? And so I'm a big proponent of that. Tell me why that was important and what you're actually involved in.
Hey, Troy, how are you? Well, Sean Roberts, who is the founder of AMRAC, and another great guy. You
got hit by all of them. I love it. No, I love Sean. I've had Sean on the show.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. I met him at a debate while I was doing during the campaign. In the Haitian community, and I met him, and he came up and talked to me, and he asked me, "Hey, what do you think about anti-bullying?" I says, "Well, like what you said, I'm a big proponent of it because I feel that, and I saw it growing up in New York. I saw a lot of kids get bullied. The nerdy kids and everything. And one of the things that I did when I was growing up, besides Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, and all that stuff, but I also got my black belt in Taekwondo." And I found myself often defending some of these kids that were being bullied, and then, of course, I would find myself between a person and a fist, But you know what?
Isn't that the Bronx in general, my friend? I'm from New Jersey, so I can say it.
Yeah, the Bronx. You become street savvy, I should say.
Absolutely.
It does toughen you and to prepare for things in life in the future. So, growing up, and so I've always talked to my kids, mainly my son, that always to protect the weak, always. And I didn't have to say too much to him. I found my son, he would tell me stories that how they would bother a handicapped kid, or they would make fun of him. And my friend, he became friends with a kid in a wheelchair. And so all that stuff started reminiscing when I was talking to Sean, and Sean told me his story, which was very interesting. And I said, how can I help? And and he invited me to a couple events that I went to. So his thing is about, because kids who are bullied, they don't know where to go to. They feel isolated. They feel alone in the world. Nobody's talking to them.
Correct.
And sometimes they don't know how to reach out for help. So what Sean has done is created this program helping anti-bully kids with entertainment, singing, and film. And that's one of the things that Sean does. So we just finished a project. It's still ongoing. A project that he's doing, a short film. Can't let out any secrets, but Sean's working on an anti-bully film that I was in with him and helped him out. So it's really good. He's doing a really good job on it with that. And if anybody wants to support it, go to AMRAC. It's on Facebook. I believe he's got a website too. Go ahead and support the cause. So that's how I got involved in it. Now, recently, just to show everybody how this can affect somebody. Well, you heard about the TSA guy.
Yes.
Who committed suicide.
Yes.
At the Orlando airport. Can you imagine that, jumping off in a crowd? He was trying to send a message, and we're finding out now that he was bullied. He was bullied by coworkers, and he was bullied by his managers, by his supervisors. And this is a grown man.
Bullying so that's another, I'm glad you brought that up. Bullying isn't just to the schoolyard. It doesn't just go schoolyard. You can have bullying at your workplace, within your friend group, and I say friend with quotations around it. People get bullied all the time, and then because they feel like if they're going to rat the person out, or they don't know the resources, they don't have access to the counseling, they don't know where to go, like Joe was saying, it becomes this only way out for them in their mindset. Because think about it, if you're basically tortured on a daily basis, and that's all you get up to do, I mean, come on, it's really, really crazy. So I love the fact that there's so much more focus on it out there, but we also have to support them, I feel like. So things like Sean is doing with AMRAC, he's just trying to get awareness out. People don't know where to go, Joe. That's what I found.
Well, Sean is anybody who's looking to be involved with anti-bullying or know somebody who's being bullied, reach out to Sean Roberts. What a great guy. He is a big heart, very soft-spoken, and willing to do the right thing. So reach out to him, and you're going to see and hear more things. Support the cause. He sells sneakers with AMRAC on it. So he does a lot of good things.
There's so much good that he does, and he does it with such a servant's heart. Like, he posts about it and says, thank God for this, and thank God. I love the way that he gives thanks. I think it's awesome. All right, so what's next up for Joe Lopez?
Well,
I just got to know.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we're continuing to work in the community. I just did I help Pastor Daniel Ings in the community. He's got a program mentoring young black youth, and I was there like last week trying to tell my story, let them know what I went through, and there's choice. So that's another program, and let me tell you, he has done a phenomenal job there. He had about 20, 25 kids there, and trying to instill responsibility, get them on the right track. I mean, there were a couple of kids in there that were announcing their GPA, 3.98. I'm
nice.
going, oh my God.
Nice.
And I said, so what some of you want to do when you grow up? One told me a neurosurgeon. I'm going, okay. I said, man, that kid's probably smarter than I am, And
1,000 times smarter than I am.
Yeah, he was seven. I think he was 16 or 17 years old. Another one wanted to go into the military, and a lot of great questions they ask it, and they want to ask it. So it was a different perspective. Somebody coming in who was from outside the community, who wasn't part of them, to tell them. So I told them about a young Hispanic male growing up in the Bronx. To a single parent. My mom had 3 jobs raising 2 kids in the Bronx, and how we turned out. I was trying to tell them that there's always opportunity, and it's your choice. And of course, growing up in the Bronx, being around the drugs, the biggest drugs was heroin and snorting glue. I remember. So you have choice to make choice. So kind of explain. I got my degree much late in life. The first one in my family to get a degree, and first one to retire from a reputable job. I am the oldest, but I was trying to sell them that there's three types of people in this world, is what I say, and I tell this to my kids. I say, "Oh, Daddy, here we go again." But I tell them, I said, "Look, there's three types of people in this world. One person doesn't have a clue what's going on, just watching the world go by. The second person is the one who's educated, the one who's got the resources, but just sitting back and doing mediocrity and just watching everybody else do things. And then that third person is the person that makes things happen." Okay, I'm unfortunate. I never had breaks. I've always had to work hard for everything that I have to do, and I always felt that you got to make the plays, you got to make things happen if you want to do things. I taught that to my kids when they played soccer, when I was their soccer coach with the YMCA, and told them, go out there, make plays, and make things happen. And I think that's how you get in life. I'm a late bloomer in life, but I finally saw the light.
All right, so we're going to share all of Joe's contact information, how you can reach out to him. I'm sorry, Lisette, but how you can get him involved in your organization, maybe. Joe's got a big heart, obviously a big heart. He really wants to be involved. He's got a servant's heart. And see, there is life after running for office. Any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to share with them before we head out?
Well, I just, if you want to get involved, get involved. Make things happen. Do something better for the community. There's a lot of people in this county that I've met, great people that want to do things. They don't know how to do that. So get involved. Do the right thing. Get educated, and when you get there, remember this: always pay it forward. Always pay it forward. Never look for favors in return. Always pay it forward and give back to the community. And if you can change one mind, that's all you go accomplish. That's all I set out to do, is try to change one mind for the better good.
I love it. All right, man. You're always a pleasure to have on the show. He's got a servant's heart. You can't fake that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of authenticity and vulnerability. You shared a lot of personal stuff, which I appreciate so much. All right, reach out to Joe Lopez. You definitely want to get in touch with him.
Facebook.
He's
Joe
on
Lopez,
Facebook. I tagged him. Paving the Way, Jan Edwards, anything you want to get involved in that Joe talked about, or if you got a question for him, that's what he said earlier.
Oh, and
go ahead, please say it.
Can I tell him about the info, Ted's community?
I'd love for you to.
Ted's community. That's about getting people together, building relationships. I'm glad to be part of that. And you know what? And there's a contest going on.
That's right.
Yeah, it ends today at 5 o'clock. And if you haven't voted, vote for Joe Lopez, number 174. Please, come on. I'm one of the 4 finalists. There's a lot. Listen,
Which is a big deal out of 256,
yeah,
right?
and all the people that were involved were great people. All great
I
people.
agree.
Even the 4 people, wonderful people. But this is a competition, of course. Joe Lopez, if you haven't voted, go on there and vote for me today.
I love it.
And have a beautiful day.
Go to the link I just posted right before we went live. So go to the link at tedscommunity.com and you can vote. Joe Lopez, you're a joy to have on, man. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thanks, Ted.
All right, we love you guys. We'll see you
Bye.
back tomorrow. Mwah.